Welcome to All Horse Racing All the Time. I'm Alan, your host. Well, Paco Lopez, who many of you know, has been suspended by HISA, the Horse Racing Integrity and Safety Authority, indefinitely for whipping a 2-year-old yearling, national law after the race, whipping the horse a couple of times in the neck and towards the face. And now Paco has issued an apology to HISA. And how does this affect the suspension? What's going to happen now? Well, for starters, there has been a public outcry, especially in social media, anti-Paco from this. From what I have seen, from what I have heard, geez, it has to be well over 90% negative. So this guy's seen in a very bad light right now. What does this, how is this apology going to be treated? How does this shape up as far as the length of his suspension go? Let's start by taking a look at Paco's apology and go from there. Okay, Paco, he issued an apology. He says in the apology, "I take full responsibility for my actions." And now this was posted to his social media account. "I am aware that our sport is under a lot of scrutiny, and I fully apologize to everyone involved in our sport, fans, horsemen, management, racing commissions, HISA, and of course, the horse, national law. My actions were reactionary in the heat of the moment, and I am truly sorry." Did Paco write this himself? A lot of questions about that. People say, "Oh God, if you believe that Paco wrote this himself, I got a bridge to sell you." He goes on. He goes, "I have seen many social media postings which have led me to reflect on the situation. I have decided to take time away from racing." He's decided to take time away from racing. He's been suspended indefinitely. He doesn't have a choice here. "I have decided to take time away from racing and, in the path of several of my fellow riders, seek appropriate counseling and work on myself." Okay, it sounds like he's kind of trying to take the blame off himself or shift the attention off of himself. "I've decided to take time away from racing in the path of several of my fellow riders." So he's dragging other people into this, "to seek appropriate counseling and work on myself." Now, I did a search on this, and I'm not coming up with anyone that really falls into this category that he has here, whipping the horse after the race, and the infractions he's been suspended for already in the past. Who is he comparing himself to here? He is in a class by himself, what he's done here. Now, there is one that's come up here, and I'll bring this one up. Her name is Charlotte Desjardins. Now, she faced a suspension for whipping a horse as well. Okay, and let me tell you a little bit about her. She's an Olympic dressage gold medalist, and now she's been, after striking a horse with a whip, the 39-year-old, isn't she the same age as Paco? She has been handed out an international ban by the FEE, the world governing body of equestrian sports, of 1 year. Now, this is a 6 times gold medalist. She gets a 1-year suspension. Okay, so Paco, we don't know what he's going to get yet. But here's what Desjardins had to say after getting handed the 1-year suspension for whipping a horse. Now, listen up, Paco. I hope you're watching this, or at least you are aware of this. I'm pretty sure he is. Charlotte Desjardins, here's what she says after the 1-year suspension. I fully respect the verdict issued by the Federation of Equestrian Sports released today. She fully respects the verdict. And she goes on. As the Federation has recognized, my actions in the video do not reflect who I am, and I can only apologize again. I understand the responsibility that comes with my position in the sport, and I will forever aim to do better. This has undoubtedly been one of the darkest and most difficult periods of my life, and I would like to take this opportunity to thank everyone who has supported me during this time. All right, Paco. Is Paco going to take that route? Now, if he's truly sorry, he'd go the way Charlotte did here, accepting his 1-year ban with class and remorse and apologizing and actually going on to thank people who have supported her over this time, and she's going to aim to do better. Hopefully, Paco takes the same route that she did. Again, him comparing himself to other jockeys who've taken this path, and his already he's kind of shifting blame here. You don't see Charlotte doing that in her statement. Already he's dragging people in, others who have taken this. I follow others who have taken this path, and it doesn't sound very sincere, this apology. It sounds like it was written up. I don't know if it was artificial intelligence that put this thing together, or an attorney. It doesn't sound like him, but hopefully he is remorseful and he accepts the full suspension, however long this is, and he goes for his health. Now, there are a couple of things that go along with this suspension, and I'll bring that up right now. How did HISA's CEO respond to this? Lisa Lazaris says, once HISA is satisfied Lopez has dealt with his issues and is ready to commit himself to prioritizing horse welfare and the safety of his fellow jockeys, we will discuss, now this is after he completes all this stuff, we will discuss his eventual return to racing. And it says here fatal breakdowns, including some on TV. He has a reputation in recent years, and he's made the situation, he's been involved in dangerous riding, other whipping and violations before. Never like this, though, flagrantly whipping a horse after a race, for letting up on a horse that basically amount to cheating over at Barks, affected the wagering, reckless riding, dangerous riding. I don't see anyone who's had this type of, in my history of covering the races, I have not seen a jockey that has gone down this path that Paco can really compare himself to on all fronts, offending the sport, whether it be reckless riding, a foul that affected the wagering. Could you call it cheating? And now this, endangering, and now he's whipping a horse after the race. Now this is a $250K yearling, right? The owner is furious. They're already sick of him. And Mike Rapoli over in New York had Paco slated for a ride after this happened. Said no way, we're not giving him the mount. He's off. What owners are going to give this guy? What owners are going to trust their horse in his hands? So you got to think about it. Now, as far as the suspension goes, there are a few things to keep in mind here. Number one, the offense, the infraction, whipping the horse. There's animal safety involved. You have to consider that. Cruelty to animals. I don't see other jockeys being, hit with stuff like this. And he's already been cited for excessive whipping numerous times, numerous suspensions. reckless riding, yeah, you see some of that sometimes. A lot of people complain. Rod Ortiz, he's also a dangerous rider, and he's a bit, can be a bit of a punk on the track, like Paco in that regard. But you don't see Irod getting charged with letting up on a horse or physically attacking a horse. Paco, he's saying he's following the path of others who went this route to. No, he's in a class by himself, so it's got to be treated separately. And how long is this suspension going to be? I did put a poll out there on the website. I'll put a link to that down below, so you could take the poll. How long should Paco's suspension be? 3 months, 6 months, more than 6 months, or other? A year, more than 6 months, or other. So you got a chance to weigh in on that. But from what I've seen, from what I've heard, there are people that want him out of the sport forever. So, and some things to think about. If you're coming back, if you're going to come back, if he's going to fight the suspension, or say he deserves less, or takes this route that other people have done the same thing, not good. It's going to be a bad look, because already the vast majority of the public is against this guy coming back at all, let alone coming back for maybe a month, in a month, or a matter of weeks, or however long the suspension is. Now keep this in mind. Now for the good of Paco, okay, say he is sincere. Hopefully he goes the route of Charlotte did when she got the 1-year suspension, and she accepts it, and she's apologized, no excuses. Hopefully he goes that route. Now, if he doesn't, and he gets a short suspension, say 3 months. Now, can he get less than 3 months? I don't think so. But say he comes back, even if it's less than 6 months, he comes back on the track. For the good of Paco, what type of fan reception is he going to get? What is he going to get from the racing people? The boos, the heckling, the screaming, the backlash that he's going to take on the track, the heat he's going to take from the track. Especially, he'll probably take some regardless of the suspension length, but if it's short, he's going to take a tremendous heat on the track. How is that going to affect him, who already has a fragile, unpredictable personality? What about the fans, the racing fans? The sport doesn't need any negative publicity now. It doesn't need any negative publicity. You got other, PETA, HISA. Everybody is keeping an eagle eye on this situation as far as animal cruelty goes and safety goes. So they're keeping a sharp eye on how this plays out. They haven't said too much yet. They kind of accepted his apology. What does that mean, accepted it? It means they heard it. Doesn't mean, okay, everything's okay now, all is forgiven. They're going to take a wait-and-see approach. But say he comes back. What? He comes back less than 6 months. What if he gets a mount in the Kentucky Derby? Would any trainer give him a mount in the Kentucky Derby? How do you feel about watching the Kentucky Derby coverage? And one of the 15-minute stories leading up to the Derby is the Paco Lopez saga with the whipping, maybe flashing to some screenshots, and talking about his story and about his recovery story from anger management. No one wants to see that during the Kentucky Derby. Okay, so that if you give him at least 6 months, that gives him some time to think things over and look things over, hopefully show his sincerity. Because remember how the sincerity angle goes. If Bob Baffert really, think of him with the Kentucky Derby, banned from the Derby for some years, and they felt that he wasn't sorry enough, and that's one of the reasons they extended his suspension. And that might be the case here if Paco doesn't show his sincerity, that who knows how long this suspension can go on. But no one wants to hear about Paco on Derby Day, or even see him over there on the premises riding in any of the other races. Let him get some time away to straighten himself out and see how that goes from there. So Paco is involved too here. Does he want to come back and take a lot of heat early? And do the fans want to have to deal with him right now when everybody is angry? Already, this is, you got to wonder what trainers are going to stick with him, what owners are going to want him to ride their horses. This is serious stuff. In a sport where especially the fans. You keep the fans in mind. Never has there been a sport where the fans are so passionately involved with the horses, with the animals. They're beloved. And to see something like this go down is totally unacceptable. So that's something to keep in mind too. The fans, the horses' safety, the good of horse racing. So let's see what happens here. What do I think? Am I going to make a prediction on this suspension? If I was going to wager on it, or if I had to guess, I think it's going to be between 6 months and a year, no less than that. And we'll have to see how it plays out. What do you think? You leave your comments down below. And again, don't forget to take that poll on how long will HISA suspend Paco Lopez. I'll put the link in the description area. And we can go from there. In the meantime, let's hope this plays out well. Hopefully Paco recovers and goes through the steps, required steps, to address this situation, and is sincere about his apology and remorseful for the situation, and really expresses that, not trying to fight it and saying, oh, other people have done this, or other people got suspended for that, because he's really in a class by himself, and that shouldn't be the case anyway. He should just take a suspension because this was a pretty serious situation, and I think Paco knows that. For the good of racing, step away for a while and do what you have to do, to try and right the situation as best as he can. Okay, thanks for watching, everybody. We'll keep an eye on this, and hopefully everything works out well and for the good of the sport and all involved.